Right, hello everyone, good evening and welcome to the Invictus Racing League YouTube channel. My name is Jake and I'll once again be guiding you through all the action tonight in the F4 League. It is time for round 3. We are at the circuit Zandvoort for the first ever time. This week sees the first ever Dutch Grand Prix held on Invictus. Of course, this being a brand new addition to this year's calendar. Of course, it won't actually be going ahead in real life, unfortunately, due to the coronavirus pandemic. But we can race it here on this game, and it promises to be a very interesting round ahead indeed. Certainly a track that I've enjoyed driving around in my time on this game. And just to go through a few interesting facts about it, so of course it's in the Netherlands. The track is 2.6 miles long. It will be a 36 lap race, and there are 4 left-hand corners and 10 right-hand corners, making it a 14 corner racetrack. Quite a technical circuit, quite narrow in parts. Probably the most infamous corner is that banked final turn, leading you onto the pit straight, and of course turn 1 will definitely be the best overtaking opportunity. However, there are a few others around the track, and we should see some good racing. And what I've seen as well so far at some Dutch Grand Prix on this game is that rain is a distinct possibility, so we cannot rule that out either. Coming into this round of the championship, things are looking very interesting indeed. We've got Synchronously, who holds a 7-point lead at the top of the championship, following 2 consecutive podium finishes at our first 2 races. We've got Mileham and Nitrogash tied in second place. Both have a win each, but unfortunately didn't score in either race. Mileham wasn't here last week, and Nitrogash unfortunately crashed out of the season opener in France. We've got 2 people tied at 4th, Tin Man and Maggot, and we've also got Malkven, the championship probably the championship favourite coming into the season, who is in 6th place. Just have a quick look through the field. I believe we have all the championship contenders here tonight, so it'll be interesting to see how they all get on around this new track. Can definitely promote some different kind of results, that's for sure. And what I would say is that the track looks have we had a bit of rain before qualifying or something? It looked a bit damp there briefly from what I saw, but that could just be the look of the Zandvoort track anyway. Let's have a look when we get on track. No. So yeah, the track is a little bit damp at the start of qualifying, so that definitely makes things very interesting. Will it dry up as qualifying goes on, or will it get damper? Who knows? The one thing I've noticed straight away is that we have got a few cars rushing out on track. Does that indicate perhaps that things are indeed going to get a little bit damper as the session goes on? I believe Tin Man is the first man out on track, so we're going to follow him round. And wow, that's not something I see very often, that a track damp at the start of qualifying. But it doesn't look like it's raining from what I can see, unless I'm not seeing it right. Just a comment in the chat briefly, if you do want to join the Invictus Racing League, you have to sign up on their website. There's no way, unfortunately, you'll be able to join the race tonight. This has been done well in advance, unfortunately. So yeah, but if you sign up to the website, and you'll get further instructions there once you've done so. The website is www.invictusracingleague.com. So Tin Man has started his first flying lap then. We should be picking him up, although the camera seems a little bit stuck, so just can find Tin Man now. What? That's very odd. Oh, that explains it. I wonder why we weren't scrolling ahead with the camera, and that's because Tin Man has unfortunately lost it. Coming out of turn 1, I believe it is. I wonder if he hit the curb too hard. That's a very common mistake to do there. So yeah, that's why he wasn't going anywhere. And now that mystery's been solved, we'll go on board the Maggot, who is the next car out on the track. But that could be key for Tin Man, although it could also not be as important if the track just dries out. However, it is still looking very overcast here. at Zandvoort. So Maggot here just coming around the last couple of corners now, right through the penultimate turn. Got to be careful not to take too much curve there. Tinnis has actually gone quickest on a 1:11.3. Maggot though is heading to the line, and I think this is going to go comfortably quickest. It does indeed. Maggot does a 1:09.5 to go quickest of all. Ginger Tiger's backed off on his lap. Who have we got out there who is close to finishing a lap? I'm interested to see how Synchronously does. Synchronously goes into second, just 3/10 slower than Maggot, so the early pace set by the McLaren driver. Synchronously, who's been up there in both races so far and the current championship leader, is once again looking very competitive indeed. As Nitrogash slots into third, but some way off the top two at the moment. Have we got let's follow the Renault here as C. Wilson scored points on his debut last time out. Wasn't the quickest driver, but looked to be quite consistent, and I think points will definitely be his target here again today. That's a very good lap by Malk, it has to be said, who's just gone third on the medium tyre. I see Wilson slots it into 8th. Sab has put it up into 4th as well, that's a solid effort. Have we got Cryptox on the lap, I wonder? Or is he back? No, it looks like he's still going for it, Cryptox, so we'll stay with him. No, he's definitely still going for it, look at that. Swings it in into this very tricky complex of corners. Definitely no room for overtaking in this part of the track, but plenty of room to lose and gain time on your lap should you get any of the lines wrong. This looks pretty smooth, it has to be said, from the Alfa Romeo driver of Cryptox. And so far this season he has scored points at both races. He got a 9th place at France and followed out with a 7th at the Red Bull Ring last week. So he's had a solid start to the season, there's no doubt about that. He'll be looking to take that next step forward perhaps and maybe grab a podium somewhere down the line. Cryptox does his opening lap and moves into 5th place on a 1:10.6. That's not a bad effort at all. You get the feeling the track should only get better from here because, like I said, there still clearly is a little bit of spray out there. Having said that, 1:09 is a very competitive time off the back, so we'll have to wait and see on that one. Let's go on board with the other Renault of I Am Neelis, who is just in the final sector of their lap now. Getting this corner is absolutely key. You want to get as good of a run onto the banking as possible, and then just floor it to the line. I Am Neelis. This is looking like a very decent lap, this actually. Yeah, and it is. It goes into third. Third man to go into the 1:09s, a 1:09.9. That's a good effort indeed. Although he didn't actually finish the race last time out, he did show a good amount of pace. He was right up there, as I recall, but unfortunately the race just kind of went all wrong for him. But if he can continue with the speed that he clearly has, you've got to say that good results are going to be on their way for him. I wonder if Ginger Tiger's on a lap. Let's have a look. Now indeed, around this lovely banked right-hander. Love driving this middle sector. It is absolute joy to drive. It's very much a driver's circuit, this one. And this is actually looking fairly good as well. Didn't use all the road there. Got nicely on the power up to the end of the second sector, and of course this is the second DRS straight that we just went down. It's not a very long DRS straight, but such is the nature of this track, it was about the only other place they could put a DRS zone. As to how much overtaking we'll see because of that, it remains to be seen. But Ginger Tiger rounds the banked curve onto the pit straight, and this is going to be his opening lap time, and it's good enough for 8th place. Not too bad. Nitrogash, let's follow him round. The winner of last week's race at Austria. I have to say it was a fantastic drive from him, and a much needed boost after the disaster for Red Bull at France. Nitrogash is another driver who you would have to say is up there in terms of the drivers who should be fighting for the championship. And if he can find what he produced last week, he could be the man to beat here as well. His opening lap time wasn't spectacular, but he's already improving on that by a considerable margin. Yep, he's a second up from the second sector, so he's finding a lot of pace out there. Oh, and we got a Ferrari round there in the background. That'll be Osteven. So Osteven has gone round in the Ferrari, but Nitrogash won't concern himself about that. He'll just be trying to get the best run up to the line, and he goes up to 4th on a 1:10.1. Didn't actually find any time in the last sector, but found a lot around the rest of the lap and moves on to the second row. Still 6/10 off the pole margin though. Is he going for another lap? He looks like he's still pushing Nitrogash. Could just be deceiving. I think he's still going for it. We'll see the first sector. Obviously, with the way this track is, the first sector is actually quite a way into the lap. No, he's backed off. So I'm going to follow Synchronously, currently on the front row, but is on his second flying lap of the session. And I have to say, Synchronously's really impressed me so far this season. Not just his speed, but his consistency as well. It really has been impressive. And he will be looking to improve on this lap, and he is doing. He's 3.5 tenths up. If Synchronously can keep that going, there's every chance he could be about to snatch pole position away from Maggot, who is on a lap himself, which we'll try and catch if he isn't already about to cross the line. He has done indeed, so Maggot improves to a 1:09.4. Is that going to be good enough to keep him on pole when Synchronously goes over the line? It is. Synchronously lost some time in that final sector, and only does a 1:09.7, so bit of time to find there in the final sector for Synchronously. There was no doubt more pace in there, but he just couldn't find it on that occasion. Sab has moved up into 4th place, showing some good pace around here is Sab. He was a bit anonymous last week. I'm sure he'll be the first one to admit that, but looking a lot more on the money this week based on his early parts of qualifying. One driver I'm interested to watch is Mileham, because he of course won the season opener, wasn't here last week, but it was a bit of a shock last week, I've got to be honest. In the first race of the season, I wasn't expecting him to be quite so competitive, but he proved us all wrong at France, and right now his best qualifying time isn't fantastic, so we should expect an improvement. How's he looking so far on his lap? He's not really improving, it has to be said. The nature of his track may of course mean that it suits some drivers more than others, as we see as well. Tin Man has gone up into 4th for Racing Point. Both Racing Point drivers have looked quick as Mileham pits. Both Racing Point drivers have looked quick, but they've struggled to back it up consistently through the races, which unfortunately has impacted on the amount of points they've scored. So they'll be looking to turn that around now. What's C. Wilson up to? I think he's on an in lap. He didn't manage to improve. Is Patsman, is he on a lap? No, he's pitting as well. I am Neelis, actually, he'll be on a lap. He's currently in 3rd place. He heads to the line. I don't think this is going to massively improve him. It doesn't improve slightly in time, but stays in 3rd. Another driver who I think has slightly underperformed so far this season, Tinus Optional. He's got one of the longest winless streaks in Invictus history, which he won't thank me for saying. But it has to be said, so far this season he hasn't actually scored any points. And I think he actually, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe he took pole at France. So the pace is undoubtedly in there, but it's a case of hooking it all up. That's going to be the key for Tinus. And the longer that winless streak goes on, the harder it's going to be to get that monkey off his back. He's not currently on a lap that's going to improve him by much. We're 5 minutes to go in session. A lot of drivers in the pits now, mostly preparing for their final runs, I suspect. Is Tinus going to continue his lap, or is he going to pit? He continues with the lap, so that suggests he's about to improve, and he does, up to 7th. Tinus improves up to 7th. The AlphaTauri is looking reasonably strong around here, it has to be said. We drastically need a change of fortunes. They've only got 1 point between the pair of them so far, and that is not representative of how good these two drivers are. Right, Chagash is not improving. What's Osteven up to? He's on an in lap. Have we got Ginger Tiger on a lap, I wonder? Let's have a look around the final corner. I don't think he's going to improve. I think he's going to come in the pits. Yes, he is. What's the Spud up to? Currently down in 15th. He's on soft tyres now, but and he's been on soft tyres before, but 113, I've got to be honest, isn't especially quick. So he'll want to improve on that for sure. What's the Spud up to? Something's telling me this might be a slight glitch that I'm seeing here with the rain light being on and the spray off the back of the car, because the times they're doing are kind of the times you'd expect to see. So I don't know if that's a graphical glitch, but anyway, Spud is round the final corner and he's not going to improve. But he does another 113.5, so is the Spud running high fuel? Is he struggling around this track? I don't really know, but either way, it's not working out too well for him at the moment. We all know Spud is more capable of better things than that. What's Nitrogash up to? Nitrogash on a really good lap, actually, half a second up on what he'd done previously, and if he can keep that going, there's every chance he's going to be on the first row of the grid. The winner from Austria. What can Nitrogash do here? He runs to the line and he goes on to pole position, a 109.3. That's a great lap, and that's going to take some beating. Nitrogash showing some fantastic form at the moment, and he takes pole away by less than a tenth of a second. What's Maggot's on a lap as well, and he is going slightly quicker through the first sector. Synchronously's session is over. He is retired, so he won't be improving on what is currently third. What can Maggot do? He'll just seen that pole position time that he set be beaten. Has he got something to respond with? Sab is also done from the session. What can Maggot do? He's on the run to the line. And Maggot retakes pole, a 109.2. So Nitrogash had pole for literally less than a minute before it was taken away from him. Let's go back with Ginger Tiger. Actually, no, we're going to actually go with Cryptox, because I believe he will be on a lap, is he? He's 2 tenths down in the first sector, and he's got traffic as well. Spud has. I think that's Spud that's got out of his way. But it might be a little bit too late on that one. I don't think Cryptox is going to improve. We'll just check the middle sector time just to make sure. No, so Cryptox will not be improving. Is Malk still out on mediums? He is indeed. And we saw... Oh no, he's out on softs now, so that's... So Malk is out on softs now, so this will be a lap to definitely keep our eyes on. He's up in sector 1 by 3 tenths of a second. Based on the time he did on mediums, I suspect he'll go into the first couple of rows of this, as long as he keeps it all together. He's 7 tenths up for the middle sector. This is looking very good for Malk to get it up there alongside his Red Bull teammate. Nitrogash are currently third in the constructors at the moment, and they're aiming for the title on that one, so they need a good qualifying session. What can Malk do? Malk goes up to third, just a tenth of a second behind teammate Nitrogash, and well, he goes into a wall at turn 1. That's quite interesting. But I Am Neelis is he on a lap? Let's have a look. I Am Neelis is slightly down, but we'll stay with him just in case he can improve. The top three are all done in qualifying, so it's up to those behind him to try and improve. What was I Am Neelis got round the final corner? He's going into the pits. He's not improving. Mileham's down in the first sector. Have we got anyone who's about to improve? Steven round the final sector. He is on a personal best lap. He's currently 13th. And Steven moves up into 10th. He climbs into the top 10 at the expense of Patsman. I don't think Patsman will mind too much dropping from 10th to 11th. He will, of course, have fresh set of tyres to choose from at the start. And I believe that is it. We've only got Mileham, and he's not improving. I will just check that Mileham's not. No, Mileham's definitely not improving. So that is it. The qualifying session is done. It's Maggot who takes pole position for the Invictus F4 League third round at the Dutch Grand Prix, and well done to Maggot. That was a really excellent lap, and he was up there throughout the session, setting very, very good lap times. So massive congratulations to him on the pole position. Nitrogash is going to join him on the front row. We've got Malkin third, synchronously in fourth. I Am Neelis is in fifth, Timman in sixth, Sab seventh, Cryptox eighth, Tinus ninth, and Osteven takes the final spot in the top 10. Times are very close, especially in the mid-pack, which suggests we're going to have a very good action in the midfield. Maggot has had a good start to the season, but he's yet to stand on the podium. Surely this is his best opportunity yet from pole position. But he'll have two Red Bulls behind him who will be determined to stop him. Along with Synchronously, who was yet to stand off the podium this season, and once again is very high up on the grid. Looking outside the top 10, we've got Patsman, Mileham only 12th, the winner of the French Grand Prix. Ginger Tiger 13th, C. Wilson in 14th, and Spud struggling for pace down at the back. Hello Harry, hope you enjoy the stream. Should be very entertaining, 36 laps ahead of us. In terms of who could win, I never want to make too much of a brave call just in case I jinx any of the drivers, but I think when you look at the top four, you've got to say I suspect the winner's going to come from the top four on the grid. I think those four are definitely the current class of the field in F4, and those are the ones to beat undoubtedly. And of course, this isn't the easiest track to overtake on, so grid position is going to be key here. Assuming we don't see any safety cars, which of course we can never rule out. I'm good, mate. Thank you for asking. Hope you enjoyed the race. It should be a good one. Like I said, we've got two very quick Red Bulls up there. We've got Maggot, who will be keen to get his first podium of the season. We've got Synchronously, who will be determined to keep his perfect podium streak going. And plenty of other drivers behind who will want to cause a surprise. So let's see how the race unfolds. First thing to do, of course, is check what tyres everyone has gone with. So, of course, the top 10 are locked in with the tyres that they did their fastest qualifying laps on. Outside the top 10, we've got a very much a difference in strategy here. So, Patsman has gone for the mediums. Mileham and Ginger Tiger have stuck with a soft compound tyre. C. Wilson has also gone for mediums, and then Spud at the back has actually gone for the hard tyre. So, I'm unsure. I mean, Spud didn't show much pace in qualifying, so maybe he's thinking by going for the hard tyre, it gives him more strategy variance in the race. It's a much more sunny race day here at Zandvoort. Not overcast at all. We should be in for a completely dry race. And in terms of strategy, the most likely of strategies is the soft to hard compound strategy. You can make soft to mediums last, but you probably need some help with safety car periods and a bit of tyre saving. So I would say the soft to hard is the most likely strategy for those inside the top 10. Those, of course, who are out the top 10, they can try and go a different way, perhaps. And maybe go... Of course, a two-stopper is possible around here, but you wouldn't recommend it just based on how difficult this track is to overtake on. You'd much rather have the track position here than having to make loads of overtakes. That ultimately will pay off a lot better for you. Just a support from McLaren in the stream. Maggot on pole, Mileham only 12th, but of course he is a race winner this season, so can never rule him out. Cars are just lining up on the grid now. Right, here we go. The lights should be coming on any second now. Here we go, 5 lights, and we are away for the Invictus F4 League here at Zandvoort. It's a great start from Maggot. It's also a good start from Synchronously as he tries to go down the inside at turn 1. Has he managed to make the move on one of the Red Bulls? He's trying to look for it, but he can't quite manage it, and he has to slot in behind the 2 Red Bulls. In fact, we've got a Renault of Neelis who's trying to move up the inside, but in the end he can't quite manage it. So the top 4 is as you were. It is Maggot leading, Nitrogash second, we've got Malkin third, Synchronously in 4th, and I believe that's Cryptox. Is that Cryptox who is up to 6th place? I believe it is, yes it is, so he's up to 6th. We've got Tin Man in 7th. It looks like we've got some problems down at the back. Is that Tinus, who I think has unfortunately been involved in an incident and has damage, so his race has already not gone the way he would have wanted. But already Maggot is trying to make a break for it out front, and we've got another problem in Sector 2. I believe that's C. Wilson who has gone off now as well. So, disaster there for the Renault driver. But we're going to go back to the front now. So yeah, Maggot's already made a break for it. He's got a very comfortable lead out front, and the 2 Red Bulls follow in behind. Further down, we've got Cryptox potentially looking at a move on Neelis. Let's have a look, see if he can pull it off. He's having a look down the outside, and we've got Mileham into the pits. So looks like the McLaren's collected some damage. That's not the start that he would have wanted. He'll go onto the hard tyres now and obviously just see how far he can take those into the race. Tinnis also unsurprisingly into the pits. We saw him with damage. And look, Cryptox is really looking like he wants to get past this Renault. As we go into this tricky middle sector, not really an obvious overtaking spot here. You're almost relying on a mistake from the car in front to make one stick. When you like the front, you have to say Maggot's had an excellent start to this race. He really has. He's pulling out a nice little advantage here at the front over the chasing Red Bull pair. He'll know how dangerous those 2 can be in race trim, and he'll want to make a break for it now while he can. But this is looking at the moment like the closest battle. It looks like to me like Cryptox just has a bit more pace at the start of the race. There's a yellow flag in Sector 3. I'm not sure what's happened. Is it Spud? Yep, Spud has had a spin, and he's fallen behind C. Wilson, and that's a disaster for Spud, and his difficult day just seems to be going from bad to worse. He just doesn't look like he's got at one with this track yet, and it is costing him. But we're also now going to go to that, because it's not just Cryptox in the Alfa Romeo that's causing some havoc for the car in front. It's also Synchronously, who is closed right up to the back of Malk. Gaps are starting to appear throughout the top 10, but the 2 Alfa Romeos looking very racy in this opening stage of the race. And of course he'll have DRS open now. We've got another yellow flag in Sector 2, and I believe that's Sab. What's happened to Sab? He's spun against the wall, he's got damage, and he's out the race. He's out the race, he's retired on track. I don't know if that's something he should have done, but unfortunately that is his race over. And that's a real shame for Sab. He had a very promising qualifying session, but it just has not worked out for him in a race. In fact, both Alpha Tauris, their race has already gone massively downhill. One of them out, and one of them unfortunately a long way behind at the back of the field. So in terms of In terms of pit stop window, I don't think there'll be any pit stops for a while yet. The soft tyres can hang on pretty well around here at the start, so I'd say probably from lap 9, lap 10 onwards, I would expect to see stops starting to happen. I think the only thing that will change that is, of course, damage. But yeah, look at Maggot. He's now got a 2-second buffer over the Red Bull of Nitrogas. In fact, if anything, Nitrogas is starting to fall into the clutches of his teammate. Now, we spoke to this pair after the last race at Austria. They're both on the podium. They're both very much thinking of the team effort here. I can't help wondering if Malk stays really close behind Nitrogas, will there be any call to swap them round? They both are clearly two drivers that think of the team, and if it looks like Malk is going to get held up by Nitrogas, which it looks like he might just be a little bit, then what will they do? What will they do? And well, I said the two Alfa Romeos won the attack. It actually looks, if anything, now like they're on the back foot, because I Am Neelis is closed right to the back of synchronously, and Cryptox is under a bit of pressure from Tin Man. So the Alfa Romeo charge has definitely been cut short, and the championship leader synchronously is under some pressure here. As I said, he had 2 podiums at the start of the season already, so he's under big pressure here. He wants to keep that going, but right now he doesn't look like he's got the pace of the top 3. He has a 7-point lead in the championship to Nitrogas and Mileham, and although Mileham's race hasn't gone too well, Nitrogas is right at the sharp end of the field. We know Synchronously won't panic, but his early pace has sort of evaporated, and I wonder now, look how close Malk is to Nitrogas. Are Red Bull about to swap their drivers, I wonder? Yep. Is it what they're doing? Hard to tell. No, it's not actually. I thought Malk was about to be let through there by Nitrogas, with a way he sort of pulled to one side, but no, Nitrogas remains in front, and I don't think this is helping their races, if I'm honest. I think it may be worth, but of course the problem is now that it's going to be more difficult to do a swap, because the advantage they had over the cars behind has diminished somewhat. Got a yellow flag in sector 1 who has gone off. It's another issue for Spud. Let's see what's happened. He's had another spin. That's looking like that coming out of turn 1, I believe it is. So Spud's race just going from bad to worse. He's not having a good time with it at all. I think there's some drivers that are just not enjoying this Zandvoort track. Of course, you have to wonder, some drivers might not have actually done that many laps around it. And a new track does take some getting used to. There's another yellow flag in sectors 1 and 2 this time. What's this all about? I think it's Spud again. Spud has got damage now. Oh dear, Spud has had a contact against the wall somewhere and has collected damage, and his race just is not going the way you would have hoped. Well, back to this battle for second. Maggot's lead is kind of stabilised now, just over the 2-second mark. And it looks to me like the top 4 that I predicted would have the biggest part to play in who wins this race are starting to show their class. The 5th place man, Neelis, is dropping back a little bit now. And once again, into this last sector, Malk closes in on his teammate. I wonder if, because I noticed Malk struggled to get past with a DRS, I wonder if Malk has actually gone for a bit more downforce on the car, because he looks better in the more technical bits of the track, but here, where he should be all over the back of his teammate, he just cannot seem to get close enough. So I wonder if Nitrogas has gone for a more draggy car. Oh sorry, Malk's gone for a more draggy setup, and ultimately that's affecting him down the straights. Either way, he just doesn't have enough at the moment to try and get second place, and there clearly isn't any team orders at Red Bull at the moment, and it would be interesting to ask them about this after the race if we do have one or even both of them on the podium. I wonder, but of course the problem as well for Malk now is that because he's been running in his teammates' dirty air, his tyre wear in theory at least should be worse. Obviously Nitrogash has been running in clear air. Synchronously runs a bit wide there, and he will have lost time, and just as he was looking like he was going to make an impression on the Red Bulls in front of him, he makes a small error and drops back again. It's Malk. Malk's definitely closer, a bit closer on this occasion, but as I said before, I just don't think his straight line speed's going to help him make a move. It isn't. What will Red Bull do as well when it comes to strategy? Who will get the first pit stop? Oh, and they've collided! Oh, I don't believe it! Well, it looked to me like... well, out of nowhere, really. Malk and Nitrogash have come together. Oh, and that's a disaster for the Red Bull team, just as it looked like. Oh, and there's a massive collision! Nitrogash and Tin Man have come together. And surely that's Tin Man's. Well, he's got a lot of damage. I'm surprised his car's not destroyed, in all honesty, because that was a huge impact with the Red Bull. But that's a really big blow for Tin Man. It looked a little bit clumsy for Nitrogash, I must say, but of course we only get one view of it, so I don't want to be too critical. But what happened between the two Red Bulls? Unfortunately, I just missed it at the corner of my eye. But was there contact between the pair of them? Or was it Nitrogash having a problem? It looked to me like it'd be an unusual place for Nitrogash to spin. So that's... and Malk was very close to him from what I saw. So I didn't actually see the contact. So if it wasn't, I do apologise. But to me, it looked like there was some contact between the Red Bulls. If it is, Malk's got away with it. Nitrogash definitely hasn't. Well, Nitrogash has carried on, so that would suggest that he doesn't got damage, and maybe there was just wheel-to-wheel contact between the pair of them. Well, I said they looked quite comfortable in second and third together, but contact has kind of ruined it, and it's given Maggot a massive lead now. Well, Red Bull have just sort of imploded there. They've had such a mixed bag of a season. A disaster in France, followed by a really good race in Austria. And here tonight, they've done the number one thing you shouldn't do as teammates, and that's come together. I'm interested here to see if fights further down the field, because Ginger Tiger has been right behind Patsman now for some time, and of course, this isn't working out too well for Ginger Tiger, because he's on the soft tyres. Patsman's on the mediums as he had a look there, but thought better of it. I am nearest pits at the end of lap 10, so that's going to be his, well, hopefully for his sake, only stop, because he's going on to the hard tyre. Is Ginger Tiger going to be close enough for a go into turn 1? No, he's not. As I said, Patsman will be able to run deep into the race on those mediums. Ginger Tiger will know he should be trying to get past this Haas car, and right now he cannot do so. Yeah, going back to Red Bull, I'm just shocked. Malk and Nitrogash are two of the most experienced drivers here at Invictus, so for them two to come together in the same team, that's just not something you would expect. And it goes back to what I mentioned earlier. Should Malk have just been waved through, because he looked quicker than his teammate, it had to be said. Maggot pits from the race lead, as does Malk, as does Synchronously, so they're all coming into the pits at the end of lap 11. And looks like I think they're all going to take the hard tyres here, so soft to hard is undoubtedly the strategy that these guys have decided to run. Nitrogash is also pitted. Is he going to get held up? He's lost a few seconds there. It's definitely not ideal for him, but it won't be race destroying. But yeah, a little bit more lack of communication, I think, there at Red Bull in terms of the pit stops, because that has undoubtedly cost Nitrogash a few seconds. I think there's going to be some harsh words from Christian Horner and Helmut Marko after this one. Kritots now takes over the race lead. He has, of course, not pitted. And Nealis, who pitted a lap earlier than synchronously, is now right on the back of him again. Kritots, I mean, probably the biggest threat to Kritots was Nitrogash, so the fact that he'd been held up in the pits really probably means Kritots can get away with doing this extra lap before he pitted, although he definitely can't get away with a 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane, so that's somewhat affected him, but he should still get out comfortably in front of Nitrogash. We will have a look on board with Kritots just to see where he comes out. In fact, will he get out ahead of Patsman? And what have we got going on here? Oh, there's been contact! There's been contact between Nealis and Synchronously. Just coming out of turn 1 by the looks of it. Nealis has got wing damage, I think, from what I can see, and Synchronously... well, what's happened to Synchronously? Oh, he's definitely got damage. Oh, that's a massive blow. Synchronously, as we said, not been off the podium yet this season. But, yeah, he's going to find it hard to get a podium from there, and more contact down at turn 1. Or in the first part of the lap, rather. That's a really big blow for them two. They didn't need that contact. Has Nealis actually collected damage? I'm trying to see now. It's difficult to see where the Renault front wing is. He may well have got away with it. If he has, he's very, very fortunate. And Kritots now finds himself in 3rd place after not really being in and around the podium positions before then, but the contact we've seen between Nitrogash, Synchronously and Nealis has dropped them down. Nealis looks like he's got away with... I mean, if he has got damage, it's very, very minor. Synchronously pits, it's an absolute disaster for him. Of course, he was ahead of Nealis, so you imagine it was contact between the front of Nealis's car and the rear of Sync's car. Like I say, without seeing it, because I only really caught the aftermath of it as we were watching Kritots pit to find out where he rejoined. It's difficult to know what really happened. Synchronous is going on to soft tyres. That's... well, I guess he's decided he wouldn't have been able to be at mediums last, so he's just decided to go with a soft tyre stint and take it from there. He'll be hoping now, of course, that there is a safety car, because that's the only way his race will be salvaged. As you can see here, both Renaults, I think, are desperate to get past Patsman. Nealis here is going to have a really good run. Down into turn 9. Is he going to get the move done? Yes, he is. And Nealis moves back up into 4th place. And his Renault teammate will be looking to try and follow him through. But of course, the Haas will have DRS as well. Patsman, that took a very aggressive line there. Is he going to try and make the move back on the Renault? He is indeed. Patsman goes for it against Nealis, but Nealis, with a superior tyre grip at this stage, holds it round the outside, and in fact, he's got to be careful here. Has the Haas, not just for the Renault, but the approaching Nitrogash, who will be seething, I imagine, inside that cockpit and will want to make up for what happened earlier. I just want to quickly make the point as well that Maga is leading this race quite comfortably. To anyone that wants to see him on camera, I do apologise, but unfortunately when he's 6 seconds in the lead, there's not really much reason to view him. But yeah, he's doing a fantastic job at the moment. And is... oh, Nitrogash there nearly ran out of road. What Nealis really needs to do is get out of Haas's DRS range to help his teammate out. Wilson get a good run onto the straight. I think Patsman might just not have got DRS now, so he should come under threat from the Renault here. But if anything, Nitrogash is actually going at the Renault, I don't think. Oh, and Nitrogash bullies his way past Wilson. I don't think he had his DRS open, the Renault. He definitely would have been within DRS range, but I don't think the wing was open. A mistake on his part there, but that has enabled Nitrogash to grab 6th place. That synchronously puts in, I assume, quite an anger-filled 112.6 on fresh soft tyres as he tries to make up for lost ground. Yeah, a little bit of a error there on the Renault's part, and has allowed Nitrogash up into 6th place. To say Patsman's on 15 lap old mediums, he's not actually got that bad pace, to be fair, considering. Spud has unfortunately left the session. I don't know if that's connection related. He was unfortunately comfortably at the back. But yeah, Nealis isn't driven away from Patsman the way you would have expected him to, considering the tyre difference. But I do suspect here that the Haas car is about to lose 5th place to Nitrogash. Nitrogash goes to the inside line. It should be a fairly comfortable move, and indeed it is, as Nitrogash moves back up to 5th place. And a good result, a good points haul is definitely still on the cards for him, despite that earlier clash with his teammate. Speaking of his teammate, and the top 3 in general is actually quite spaced out now at the front. Maggot, who's got a 7-second lead over Malk, who's in turn got a 7-second lead over Cryptots, who in turn has got a 7-second lead over Nealis. So the top 4 pretty static at the moment, it has to be said, but Nealis himself is under some pressure now because Nitrogash has quickly closed him down. He's definitely driving with a bit between his teeth right now as he looks to try. Honestly, who is right on the back of Ginger Tiger, and you'd suspect on soft tyres this should be a pretty simple move. He's got on the power quite well there. Is he going to have a run down into turn 10? Oh, he goes for it. And he's going to go right around the outside. That's a lovely move. Fair play to Ginger Tiger for sort of spotting that one before it happened. To make sure that he could give the Alfa Romeo the space it needed and synchronously makes the move stick, and he's up into what could be P10 once Wilson comes out the pit lane. Let's have a look. No, I think actually no, I think Arena's going to be just ahead, so synchronously still in P11. And what we haven't seen while that was going off is that Nitrogash has indeed got past the Renault, as I figured he would. So Nitrogash is back up into 4th place. And he's already pulling well away. Oh no! Nitrogash has spun! He took the curb! And Nitrogash has unfortunately spun! Oh, and that's a disaster for him! He took too much curb there just before the second DRS straight. So easily done here. The curbs do catch you out from time to time, but Nitrogash's race, just as it looked like it was on the road back up, has come crashing down again. Oh, and all the hard work he did, he's going to have to do that again and some to salvage where he was. It just isn't Nitrogash's night tonight. And it's definitely not going to be a second win in a row for him. One driver who's kind of gone under the radar is Tin Man, but I tell you what, him and Osteven are sort of joining in this battle now. It's been a frustrating time for the Racing Point team. They haven't really got the points haul they would have wanted. But Tin Man right now is in a pretty good spot. He is on medium zone. I don't think those will make the end. They'll have to do a lot of tyre saving, that's for sure. Of course, Patsman hasn't made his opening stop yet. I wonder if he's going to try and extend to go onto the soft tyre. It's definitely possible. I wonder if Wilson tried the same thing, but ultimately couldn't manage it. Is Tin Man going to look for a move there? It's pretty impossible unless you're alongside him already, but he's glued to the back of that Ferrari. Surely it's going to be a done deal down into turn 1. Tin Man pulls to the inside. Osteven keeps the outside line, squeezes a Ferrari a little bit. Osteven tries to hang it around the outside. That's a good effort, but Tin Man has the higher ground in the end and makes the move stick. A nice move as well, up into P6. As further down the field, we've got Synchronously, who has moved past Wilson back up into 10th place. I can't believe I'm saying that Nitrogash and Synchronously are on the brink of the points, or just inside them, considering where they were earlier and the pace that those two were showing. But we've had drama here, undoubtedly. And we've got Tin Man now, who is trying to take Patsman as well in a very sort of different part of the racetrack to what we usually see overtakes. Oh, and he got on the curb a bit, he got away with it. Didn't go fully round like Nitrogas did, but that has ruined his momentum. And means he does have to remain behind the Haas car for now. I do think Patsman is starting to lose his tyres somewhat. He'll hope to I'd say he'd probably hope to go to the end of lap 22, 23 before he can pit. And here comes Tin Man down the inside. Patsman, I don't think, and Patsman knows his fight's not really with him at this stage, so surrenders that position. Tin Man now to 5th place, having a solid comeback drive after not really featuring too much in the early part of the race. Osteven, now it's his turn. Just try and get past Patsman. Osteven's never a driver you tend to see that high up the grid in qualifying, but always just seems to find himself in and around the points during the race. It's a good trait to have, and it's something that Osteven has clearly worked hard on developing. I mean, of course, at the last race, last time out, he got a very impressive 5th place. You know, which you wouldn't have expected, and to be fair, with the way this race is going, he's looking for a similar result here. Patsman, yeah, he's not pitting yet, and Osteven goes down the outside, and just with a superior straight line speed, plus the DRS, it was a simple overtake in the end, and he moves up into 6th place. It's all rather status quo at the front, it has to be said. Maggots has maintained and slightly increased his lead over Malk at the front. Malk in turn has definitely increased his gap over Cryptox, and in turn to that, Cryptox has definitely increased the gap behind him to P4. There's a few drivers further down the order that will be hoping for a safety car here. And Tin Man now is putting pressure on Nealis. So Tin Man has come alive in this stint of the race. I do wonder if those tyres will make the end or not, but right now his pace is looking absolutely stellar. Hello, I hope you're enjoying the stream. Right now we're watching a charging Racing Point as Tin Man continues to make his way through the field. He's already passed, I think, 2 or 3 drivers in the last few laps, and now he's right behind Nealis, and I think Nealis is going to be pretty defenceless here. Into turn 1, he's got the inside line as a Racing Point. Nealis tries to hang it around the outside, which he's actually done to great effect. That's superb defending from Nealis there. Found some grip on the outside. He did as well. Speaking of grip, Tin Man just nearly ran out of his. But managed to keep the rear of the car under control. That was a very scary moment for Tin Man, no doubt about it. Hi Spud, unlucky on the result tonight. Just didn't look like it was your night tonight. Hopefully better for you at Shanghai next week. Which, I suppose you're watching, that is where the next F4 race will be next week. We're racing at China for round 4. So be sure to tune in same time next week for that. Should be another great race as Tin Man looks around the outside. That'd have been a brave move. He could have pulled that off. There's a yellow flag in sector 1. I don't know what's happened further down the order. I'll try to dig that out for you if I possibly can. Can't really see. Is that... Wait a minute, is that Malk? Malk's definitely lost some time. He must have had a spin somewhere. Because all of a sudden he's 14 seconds behind the leader and he's only 3.3 seconds at a crit tox. I think he's got away without damage, but Malk has had a big moment and has lost considerable amount of time, and that means Maggot's lead is even more comfortable, and all of a sudden Malk's under pressure to keep his second place. Meanwhile, Tin Man has got past a Renault, finally. Neelis put up a very good defence, but ultimately didn't have enough to keep a racing point behind him. And I've got to say, the key now for Tin Man is, can he keep those tyres going to the end? I highly doubt it. It's going to be a big ask. But of course, if not, then how quick can he be on soft tyres at the end? Now, Spud's retirement, unfortunately, was due to a disconnection. As Patsman makes his... well, actually, Patsman went onto hard tyres, but only for a lap and has gone to medium. So did Patsman collect damage? He must have done, because he's lost so much time. So that Patsman strategy that looks so good has ultimately backfired, and it's going to be tough for him to score points from there now. Alright, Synchronously's pitting. Meanwhile, we've got Natchgash closing in on the back of Malham, who's been on those hard tyres now since lap 3. I don't think it'll be too long before we see the McLaren in the pits for a set of softs. The Synchronously goes on to a set of mediums. That'll be his last stop of the race, and points could still be on the horizon for Sync. It won't be what he would have been hoping for, but any points you can take when you're championship leader, when you have a bad race, can ultimately prove crucial at the end of a season. But there's a very, very good chance that Sync might still leave here being the championship leader, which would be quite an amazing achievement, really. But he will need to try and salvage a few points from this race. This is a strange one. We've actually got a lot of cars into the pits here. Well, I thought we had. In the end, they've all kind of ducked out, but Neelis has pitted after just a 14-lap stint on hard tyre. That's a strange one for me. I don't really understand that. Maybe he didn't think he could take those to the end, but... And I guess the other argument would be if he should have really gone into softs, but... Yeah, a bit of a strange one, that. I don't think a two-stopper's really the best strategy around here, and that's dropped Neelis outside the points and moved Sync into 10th. Yeah, no doubt about it. Malk did make a mistake. He must have spun somewhere, but he got away with it without damage at least, as Nitrogash gets a much superior exit there onto the second DRS straight. Is he going to be able to outbrake the McLaren down into here? No, he's not. Malham found some traction from somewhere, but he must be getting close to a pit stop now, unless he's trying to take those hards to the end. But I mean, that would be 33 laps on them, which I don't think is possible. Well, if he did want to pit this lap, he can't. I don't think he does. He's actually pretty... I don't say he's let him through, but I don't think he had a choice. Nitrogash with a superior speed down the straight and takes 6th place. And once again, he's on a recovery drive after... Well, he had that incident early on with his teammate, but then he also had a spin later on. So Nitrogash has had the pace, but things just haven't worked out for him today. Synchronously has actually just moved up into 9th place. He's moved past Ginger Tiger. Some very good points to an offer here for Sync. Looking at it, I reckon there's no reason why he can't get into, I'd say, at least 7th place, because Malham will have to stop again. C. Wilson, I think, won't have as much pace as what he's got. Oh, and Nitrogash is in the wall again! He's lost the car, and he's collected more damage, I believe, and he's made yet another error. This has been an error-strewn evening for Nitrogash. He's had such good pace, but things just have not worked out. Has he got away without damage? I believe he has. If so, that's incredibly fortunate, but that's just again another error. He'll be kicking himself, I think, after this race, because he'll know that this could have been so much better. Even with the collision he had early on, like, the spins he's had since then have really stopped his fight back. As Tin Man makes his final stop of the race, he did not take the mediums to the end, as I suspected, and has gone into a set of softs, and he's actually rejoined in P8, so again, so could be some very good points on offer for him as well. And he'll be very quick in the latter stages, and a fastest lap is definitely not out of the question. As we've got here, what's this? This is Neelis who's made a move on Ginger Tiger, so Neelis has moved into the final points paying position. What a pace Neelis today, I thought, in certain parts of the race, but his strategy I don't think was the optimum one. I don't know if maybe he collected damage or something that affected his strategy, but yeah, I don't think a two-stopper has worked out for those that have gone for it today. And in terms of Neelis now, he's going to struggle to catch those cars in front of him. I think Wilson might be potentially a car he could battle with towards the end. It depends on the pace of him and Wilson combined. Obviously they are teammates at Renault as well, so I feel like if they did get close, I don't think there'd be too much of a battle there. I'm interested to stick with Tin Man because I imagine he's going to catch the Renault quite quickly on the soft tyres. That's at least what you would expect to see. And I have to say, Maggot at the front, I'm actually going to give him a bit of airtime here because we haven't seen much of him in this race, but he has done an absolutely fantastic job out front. Got a 12.5 second lead. He hasn't put a foot wrong, whereas others behind him have. And he's converted what was a very good pole lap into a very controlled race. And as it stands at the moment, he's heading for a very comfortable win, and that puts him right into the championship hunt. He came into this round 10 points behind Sink, but as it stands, he'll actually move ahead of him. So things looking very good for Maggot here, and he cannot deny he would deserve a win if he does take it from here, which you would guess he would, but you can never count out anything in motorsport. The impossible can happen. The key now for Maggot is just keeping focus, because that's possibly the most challenging thing to do when you are in this comfortable situation out front and you haven't really had much to do. Just keeping focus is absolutely key at this point. You can quite easily put a foot wrong just by losing concentration. So he's got to find ways to try and keep himself going over the next 6 laps so that he doesn't make any unnecessary and costly mistakes. To say that Mileham is on, going off topic to the other McLaren actually, speaking of Mileham's on 27 lap old hards, he's actually got very good pace, and I wonder if he's actually thinking of going to the end on these tyres, because you'd imagine if he was going to pit for softs, he'd have done it by now. So I think Mileham's actually trying to get to the end here, and if he can manage that, that's an incredible recovery. It's looking like a very good day for McLaren here. They came in to this race in a very, very strong position in the Constructors' Championship, just 1 point behind the leaders Alfa Romeo. And although Alfa Romeo are in the points too, as it stands at the moment, McLaren would actually take the lead in the Constructors. Because I don't think Mileham's going to pit now. So the only thing really stopping him from getting a great result now is a puncture. We'll have to keep an eye out on that one. Tin Man, as expected, has closed up to the back of Wilson for 7th place, and this should be fairly easy pickings just with the tyre difference alone. He doesn't need to do anything too risky here, just needs to pick his moment. Of course, the only points that Racing Point have actually got so far is the 2nd place that Tin Man got at the season opener in France. So he's definitely looked like the class of the the field in terms of those at Racing Point, and here he goes. He makes the move quite early on down the straight. Nothing that Wilson could do to defend that, and Tin Man is up back into 7th place, and he could still catch Mileham and Nitrogash in front of him. That's going to be interesting to see in the next few laps if he's got enough pace to do that. Oh, and Synchronously's out! Synchronously's binned it in the wall! And there's a late safety car, and that completely changes everything. Wow, what late drama we've got here at the Dutch Grand Prix. Synchronously finds himself in the wall. Oh, and I can't believe that. As Maggot pits, he's got enough of a margin to pit. He goes on to mediums, which I'm a little bit surprised about. But and you can see here all the front runners now are coming into the pits. And Synchronously, the championship leader, has crashed out. He wasn't having the best race as it was, but he was still on course to score points. But that's been thrown away now, and with it goes his championship lead as well as Alfa Romeo's. So Malk goes for softs, as does Cryptos, but Maggot has only gone for mediums. Could Maggot be under threat here at the safety car restart? That's going to be interesting to see. Mileham and Nitrogash have opted not to pit. Mileham's opted not to pit on 30 lap old hards. That's incredible, I have to say. I don't think I've ever seen anything quite like it. Osteven has opted to pit. That works out beautifully for Tin Man, who'd already pitted earlier. If anyone's ever seen someone on 30 lap old hards and not pit under a safety car period, please let me know, because I don't think I've ever seen that before. Mileham's going to be under some serious pressure in the latter stages of this race, and Sync just reflecting there on, unfortunately, a race that hasn't gone the way he would have hoped. 2 podiums in 2 races coming into tonight, but he'll be hoping for much better come Shanghai next week. As the cars line up behind the safety car, late drama here. The cars were quite spaced out. Maggot looked like he got the win completely under control, but all of a sudden now he's got Malcolm Cryptox behind him on soft tyres when he's plumped for mediums. Could the tyre temperature at the start prove a problem for Maggot? The only thing that helps him out is I don't think DRS will be activated after a safety car goes in. This does help the likes of Tinnis and Ginger Tiger as well, who weren't really looking like they were going to score points. I don't know if Patsman will be able to catch the safety car in time. That's the only blow for him. So look at the variance we've got here. We've got drivers on old hards. We've got drivers on reasonably old mediums, and then we've got other drivers on brand new soft tyres. We're going to see an absolute chaotic end to this IRL F4 Dutch Grand Prix. And can Maggot hold on to take his first win of the season and the championship lead? Or will Malk have something to say about it? Sync just reflecting in the chat that a few stupid mistakes in his view tonight cost him. A long way to go in the championship, of course, and plenty still to play for. There's no doubt this track tonight has broken a few of these drivers, and it has made a few of these drivers as well. We got the feeling something like that would happen. The safety car is in. Maggot trying to get those tyres up to temperature. He knows he's going to be under attack. He needs to get this restart absolutely spot on. And Maggot's gone. Malk has actually stayed pretty close to him though. He has not caught out the Red Bull in the way he would have hoped. But we saw earlier Malk's straight line speed wasn't the best. Up against his teammate, he looks down the inside into turn 1, but he can't quite manage it. Maggot stays in the lead. We've got Mileham and Nitrogash further down, side by side. Going through turn 1. And Mileham holds 4th place for now, but he's going to struggle so hard on those hard tyres. But it's actually Nitrogas who might come under threat here from Tin Man. Tin Man is looking down the inside, but there's no room there. You're going to be... It's very much single file for a sequence of corners. We've got to go back to the front, I'm afraid. We're on the penultimate lap now. Maggot has got the two hard charging soft tyre runners just right behind him. This is going to take some serious composure now from Maggot to keep this lead, and of course penalties, if there are any, could play a key part here in deciding the outcome of this race. As we've got battle further down. Oh, Nitrogas gone off a road. Nitrogas gone off a road. He's going to lose a position surely to Tin Man. He does indeed, and C. Wilson tries to go around the outside, but he gets blocked off by Nitrogas, and Nitrogas is creating a huge jam behind him as he goes side by side through the final curve. And oh my goodness me, I don't know what's going to happen now. Osteven has actually got past the Renault in the process, and they're going to go free abreast into turn one. Is he going to be able to hang it there? Osteven stays ahead. One of the Renaults runs wide. Tinnis tries to now take him. There's damage. There's damage on C. Wilson, and Tinnis gets past the other Renault of Nealis, and I think somebody went off in the background there as well. And meanwhile at the front, Malk has taken the lead. I'm so sorry I missed that, but there's so much happening throughout the field. It's an incredible ending to his race. Malk has got the lead. Maggot has dropped to second. That decision to go on to mediums did not pay off. The only thing I can think is he didn't have any fresh soft tyres left. But Malk has got the lead in dramatic circumstances right at the end of his Dutch Grand Prix, and Maggot should be able to hold on to second now. There isn't really many places where Cryptox might be able to get through. The two Renaults have swapped positions further down. It looks like Malham's under some serious pressure, but Malk comes up to the line and he takes the win here with a fastest lap on the final lap. Maggot takes second. Cryptox is on the podium in third, and I think Nitrogas takes fourth with penalties. Osteven takes fifth, Nealis sixth. I think it was Milham who dropped to seventh in the end due to penalties. He actually came across the line in fourth, which is an outstanding effort on 33 lap-old hard tyres. What an absolutely breathless end to the race here. It was a bit of a slow burner, but my goodness me, the safety car absolutely made this race come alive. And it's Malk that takes a dramatic win. Maggot's denied his first win of the season. It's the second win in a row for the Red Bull team. I don't know where I'm going to start in the podium interviews on that one. Cryptox takes third. A great job from him as well, keeping up Alfa Romeo's record of being at on the podium at every race, but it is him for the first time and not his teammate. And Nitrogas, despite all the drama he's been involved in today, takes fourth. I think he'll be quite happy with that on reflection. Osteven fifth, Nealis takes sixth, Milham seventh, Tin Man and Ginger Tiger with 2 racing points in the points, and C. Wilson collects the final points just ahead of Tinnis. That was incredible. I'm lost for words after that ending to the race. Driver of the day, it's a very, very tough call for me. I'm actually going to give it to Cryptox tonight. I think he did an absolutely stellar job. Showed great pace throughout and just really stuck around at the front. While others were colliding and having spins, he just kept his self together and came through from 8th on the grid to take a very well-deserved podium. Massive shouts out as well to Malk for stealing a win on the final lap and getting fastest lap, and to Milham for finishing the race on 33 lap-old hards. That deserves credit as well. But yeah, Cryptox is my driver of the day, and I'm going to now try and speak to him as well as the other 2 podium finishers. So that's all the podium finishers invited. What an incredible ending to the race that was. Absolutely stunning end to the race, and we'll hopefully get all the podium finishers' views on it very shortly. We've got Malk and Cryptox in the party, so yeah, just make sure your party settings are set to always share in terms of your voice. I'm not sure if Maggot's going to join us because I saw he went offline quite shortly after the race, so it might just be the two of us. So we'll get this started with Malk. Sum us up that race for you. Congratulations on the win first and foremost, and wow, you must be a bit breathless after that one.
Just a bit, but can I just say, Maggot drove a magnificent race, and I feel like I'm not 100% does not deserve to win that, because I was trying to catch him up after I made a mistake. But Maggot, that safety car cost him massively. I was just looking to get into the pits last minute, and I just didn't look properly. So, to be honest, I know I'm absolutely delighted to win the race, but at the same time, I really do feel sorry for Maggot because he had a 12-13 second gap. Massively, and I feel sorry for him, to be fair, because he deserved 110% of winning that race, to be honest, Jake.
It was slightly surprising, really, because you all pitted under the safety car, but he went for medium tyres. Does that strike you as a slightly odd decision?
I think it was a mistake from the pit crew. From what we're seeing at the minute, I think it's a mistake from the pit crew. I was surprised that he was on mediums, and I thought that can't be right, because I would have guaranteed he would have gone for the softs. But to be honest, I think it was just a mess up with the pit crew, to be honest. And like I said, I do feel sorry for Maggot 110% because he did deserve that win tonight, regardless of whatever happens tonight.
Very kind words, and he did drive a stellar race, and that late safety car really threw the cat amongst the pigeons and turned the race upside down. In terms of your race before that, now I didn't quite actually catch what happened on camera, so you might need to clarify this for us, but
yep.
It looked like there was some contact between you and Nitrogash early on. Was that the case, or was there a spin for Nitrogash on his own?
On my screen, Nitrogash went wide, off screen, and I had to brake sharply. I was like, eee! Like a moment, like a madness. Luckily, I did not touch him. It looked like it did, but it didn't. I didn't feel anything on the car, so I was worried that the wing was gone. After that, if it did, yeah, would have been game over regardless. But well done also to Cryptox for a top 3 finish as well. He did a brilliant drive as well, and he nearly caught me up second after I did the spin at the turn 1.
Yeah, I noticed you lost some time there in the second stint. In terms of the first stint quickly again, I've noticed while Maggot was pulling away at the early stages, it looked like you had a bit more pace than Nitrogash. Were you a little bit surprised that you two didn't swap positions in that early stages?
No, I think we both respect each other, and I respect Nitro, and Nitro respects me. We always fight till the bitter end, and we always work together as a team. So wherever happens at Red Bull, we fight together as Red Bull, and wherever happens, happens. So I was surprised that he spun. I'm really surprised he did spin, to be fair, because I think he would have got a podium tonight had he not spun, to be fair.
Okay, and congratulations on the win. I know obviously it was in unusual circumstances, but well done on the win. And,
thank you very much, mate.
No worries, we'll move on to Cryptox now, who finished in third, taking his first podium of the season. How was the race in your point of view? You must be delighted with that result.
Yeah, I'm pretty delighted obviously with that result, because I wasn't expecting that at all, especially after that poor qualifying where I messed up my final lap. Yeah, I just don't know what to say, because it's like I'm so pumped right now.
And obviously, you know, your teammate Synchronously has been getting a lot of the glory this season on the podium. It must feel nice that it's you on the podium this week, and ultimately you took advantage of some things that happened ahead of you, but you were there to pick up the pieces.
You can say it like that, but I mainly want to say that I feel sorry for Synchronously, because we had like this issue with, I don't remember who it was, I think it was one Mercedes on the pit exit. Don't remember what exactly it was, we have to look at it at the team debrief, but I feel sorry for him, because if that wouldn't have been, then it would have been a great result for us both, especially for Alfa Romeo, since I guess we're leading the championship, constructors-wise. But yeah, obviously I'm happy that I'm on the podium, and let's see if we can make it both cars next week.
We noticed at the first stint you actually were the last one to pit on soft tyres. Was that something you had in mind? You wanted to extend that first stint a bit longer?
No, actually not. The plan was to pit a lap earlier than everybody else, lap 10. But I kind of lost sight of the car in front of me, which was, I guess, one Renault. So when I saw he went into the pits, I was like, nah, I missed my window. And then obviously when synchronously went in, I hadn't had the chance because I would have lost too much time there. So I was like, yeah, I can try one more lap, and in the end it turned out to be the right decision.
What was going through your mind when you saw that late safety car?
Well, I was kind of fuming in my head because I was like, I had this 16-17 second gap. I was like, okay, just drive it home safely without any stress. And then the safety car came out. I was like, oh no, not right now, please no. And I just saw this gap getting smaller and smaller and smaller.
And a quick look ahead then to next week. We're racing in Shanghai. What are your thoughts about that track? How do you think you can do?
I would let Mark do the first comment on that because he won.
Okay.
Oh, thanks, Cryptox. I was hoping he was going to carry on with that from that. Okay, Shanghai. It'll be a good testing track, obviously, and it'll be good to see how, obviously, the Red Bulls get bounced. Obviously, hopefully we get both cars in the top 3 again, and try and bounce back as well. I'm sure Nitrogress will bounce back regardless. And like I said, I had a great battle with Sync. Cryptox, you nearly caught me, which I was panicking, like left, right, and centre. To be fair, but you drove a magnificent race, and like I said, I keep saying Maggot will fight back, and he will try and win it next week. Maggot will, to be honest.
Okay.
Yeah.
And your thoughts on Shanghai as well? What were you thinking about in terms of that track?
It's a pretty interesting track, especially because of turn 1, which you have to get absolutely right, especially in qualifying, because it's like the major decision point when it comes to your lap. And if you somehow don't get it right, your whole lap is messed up. So I feel like it's going to be a great race, especially with synchronously bouncing back next week, and then hopefully solid points, maybe double podium.
Okay, well done to both of you on your results tonight, and also well done to Cryptox, because I did actually vote for you as my driver of the day.
Oh,
so
thank you very much.
So
thank
well
you
done for that. You narrowly beat Mileham, mainly because he stayed on hard tyres for 33 laps.
Bloody hell. Fair play to him.
Even under the safety car, which I thought was an incredible thing to do. We did actually finish 4th across the line, but dropped to 7th because of penalties. So yeah, it's an incredible result for him there. So yeah, thank you both for joining me for the podium interviews. Obviously, Maggot, I can understand frustrated after that late call from his pit crew. Hopefully we'll see him bounce back next week, and hopefully we'll see you all there. Same time next week, we'll be racing at Shanghai for round 4. I've been Jake, and we'll catch you next time on the Invictus YouTube channel. Goodbye.